My name is Larry Harris Jr. I'm the head boys basketball coach here at Dumas High School.
This ain't the game to be cool. When you come out there, you got to be ready because they gonna get it. They smell blood.
I've actually been at Dumas for 9 years. I was assistant. This is going on my 9th year here at Dumas. I was assistant for 2 years, and I've been the head coach going on 7 years here. I'm from McGee, Arkansas. Grew up down in McGee, Arkansas. Went to a smaller school. Went to McGee to probably 7th grade, then switched over to a smaller school that was Delta because they were better in basketball. We used to compete against Dumas actually all the time. And one little quick story I'll tell about that is I tell my guys all the time, Dumas won state championship in 93, 94, and they were run up in 95, which meant that they went to the title game three years in a row, and they were 3A state champions. I went to a smaller school called Delta. We played them twice every year. So that's 6 contests. Just to let you know, we split. So every year, 93, 94, they won a title, 95 run up. We beat them all 3 years in my high 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year. But they beat us too, so it was a split. As far as basketball, man, I've been around it all my life. My mom's actually is the senior high girls basketball coach here, and I'm her assistant coach. My mom's been a coach for 40 years. So I'm 43 right now. I'll be 44 next month. So basically, I tell you, I came out being around basketball. I've been a gym rat. Been around basketball all my life. Watch it, live it, breathe it, talk it. So, I mean, my mom's a coach. My dad is a retired electrician. So I had 2 ways maybe I could have been. Do I want to be a coach? Do I want to be an electrician? Let's just say I didn't want to get electrocuted. So I'm a coach, man. As far as UAM, I enjoyed being a bowl weaver, playing 4 years, close to home, mom getting to see play. And the main thing that I tell all my players is, when I first made it to UAM, I averaged 23 points a ball game. So even though it's smaller D2, my dream was say I'm gonna make it to the NBA. But what happened was when I got there, I met all these teammates and I'm averaging 23. So I look at him and say, what you average? 25, 30, 25. It didn't take me but that little bit of time to realize everybody can't average that. So once I realized, I'm probably not going to make the NBA, I used the God-given talent that God gave me to be able to use a full ride athletic scholarship, to use my brain. And now it's, those physical attributes are gone. So now I'm using my brain and the little bit of basketball that I could play, but now I'm able to share with these young guys and try to impact their lives and helping them to be competitive and successful in today's competitive society. One day, my mom, she was a basketball coach here at Dumas, and I was always at the games, and I'm always hollering and coaching from the stands. And one day, my mom asked me, she said, is that your job or is that your career? What is it? Is that what you want to do for the rest of your life? And I said, I don't know. It made me say, And so I thought about it, and she said, well, I never push you into it, but I thought that you could be a coach, but I never wanted to push you. All right, I used to coach at Drew Central for 4 years, in which we were pretty successful over there, ranked in the Super Gazette. But what happened was Dumas had an opening and for an assistant. I was over there winning at Drew Central as a head coach, but they had an opening for assistant. What made my decision was family. First of all, my mom was here coaching, so it allowed me to be closer to my mom. But I also got 3 sons that went to school here. And at the time, I think they were 4th, 9th, and 10th grade. So that really played the biggest part in my decision, because what happened was the way high schools work. If I'm the head coach over there, if I'm coaching my sons on a Tuesday or Friday, Dumas is playing at the same time. So I had to make a choice to say, do you want to keep coaching kids but miss your kids play? Or do you want to come and be able to support and see your kids? So a lot of people thought I was crazy. I gave up a head coaching job to come be the assistant coach so that I could coach my sons, be around them, be my mom's assistant, and see them grow up, and so that they could have their dad in their life every day. Because, sometimes it's good to have your father. And so that's what brought me. A lot of people thought I was crazy. That's what brought me to do. I coached my first son. He was my point guard. I went to my first state tournament team my first year as a head coach. And what I had to learn, I coached him and then I coached my other one for 4 years. What I had to learn is I was a little tougher on them than I was on other kids. But from coaching my first son, it taught me how to coach my second son that I coached. Because what I had to learn was I had to be fair in all aspects. So what I had to tell myself was if I wouldn't say it or be as hard on another kid, if I'm gonna do it to my kid, I gotta be able to do it to the next kid. So if I can't do that to them, then I can't do it. So that's what I had to do. And actually, I'm gonna be crazy, tell you a little crazy thing. Me and my son, sometimes I would be hard, especially my first one. He taught me how to coach my second one. We came up with a little signal between me and him. And even my second son, if I was getting too hard on him, like sometimes I may get to fussing and forget, they're my son, Dad, I'm in the game. So if I ever got too hard on them, we had a signal, and this is what they would do. Like if I'm fussing, I'm saying something, if I'm really getting too hard, they would say, okay, Dad, all right. And then people would think that, and it didn't happen much, they would think, they're saying, okay, I gotta be mentally, I gotta think. But that was a signal to tell me, you're being too rough. It's bigger than basketball, X's and O's. You know, you teaching them how to survive in today's society. Like my guys know when they come through the gym every day from 7 period, that clock is gonna be running. It's gonna be 12 minutes running. They know that they gotta be dressed out and start stretching in 12 minutes. If not, there's a consequence. If you're not gonna be at practice, we got rules. If you're gonna miss practice, I don't want little Jimmy to call me. Don't get nobody to tell me you're gonna be, you know my number. You call me. The only way you get your mom or dad to call me because you missed practice, you need to be on a deathbed. What I'm teaching them is, number one, when we come to practice, be punctual, be on time. The other thing I'm teaching when I say call me is to have responsibility. That if you got obligated to do something, be here. Because like I tell them, my superintendent, my boss is Mr. Kelvin Gregg. If I'm not gonna be at work one day, I'm not gonna tell, hey, tell Ms. Gregg I'm gonna be there. I gotta call, go through the proper chain of command, the proper protocol. So I'm teaching them that, you know. So the game, not only is a game of basketball, we're teaching them the game of life. The number one thing to me when it comes to coaching is building relationships, building a rapport, learning background information, knowing your players, knowing who's who, knowing what somebody stays, knowing who's, you know, where they come from. If you don't know where they come from, how you gonna get down on their level? And the number one thing I've learned about being a coach is you gotta be approachable. If you're not approachable, then it may be someday that some kid got something going on in their life. They may do something crazy. But if you become a father figure and they feel like you love them, they see that you care about them, when they realize that, man, they run through a brick wall for you. When they realize that, then you build that background, you build that rapport. Then, you know, you got times kids gonna come talk to you. I mean, there's many times you gotta give people rides. You're gonna have to listen to stories of what's happening at home. You're gonna go on a trip, you're gonna have to feed somebody. So you gotta look at how you would treat somebody's kids. And so I treat them all as a father, because here's one of the most important things. You coach them for these 3 years, you know, and you want to see how do they make it out of here. Where are they at 10 years from now? You want them to be good brothers, good sons, good boyfriends, good husbands, you know, good men in the community. Well, I'm not just crazy about how well you do as basketball. I want to see when you come back 10, 20 years from now, when you're telling me about your family, your wife, your kids. When you make it in life, then I make it in life. Let's say we're doing something special. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it with being a father with these kids. Now, here's some crazy stuff. When I was at Drew Central, I was assistant coach. So when Dumas, I was assistant coach of the boys, and I was also assistant coach of the girls. So there was 2 games out the year when Dumas had to come play Drew Central. Well, I've been taught all my life to root for my mom. Here's 2 games I got to root against my mom. And so there's an article in there, I'm being honest, on my bulletin board. My mom, they interviewed me when I was at Drew Central, and they took a picture and they interviewed her. And I think I said in the article, me and her said, what would be something we ever see? We want to see, and we say, to ever be on the same coaching staff. And years later, it happened. So sometimes, man, I'll be honest, I was coaching at Drew Central, and I'm coaching against Drew Central. And I'm at Drew Central, and I'm coaching against my mom and Dumas. I remember, right there in Dumas, I'm on that bench, my mom's on that bench, and I'm coaching against my mom, and Dumas scored. And I'm like, and I had to hold myself. So that's a unique situation. And then another unique situation is my fiance is a head coach at McGee. We're in the same conference as McGee. I'm my mom's assistant coach. My fiance is McGee's head coach. So we play 2 times a year, conference game. So imagine this, 2 times out the year, I'm on the bench as an assistant coach with my mom. My fiance is on the other bench. So I'm having to go against her. So people always say, those probably are some interesting nights when you go back after game. So those are just different situations. Imagine you're on the bench coaching with your mom, but your future wife, fiance, is on the other bench. So that's difficult too, man. Nobody's gonna love you like mom. Mom gonna be there sometime even when you're wrong. She gonna be there. You get in trouble, and they ain't saying you mess around and get in trouble. Let's say you get in trouble, go to jail. Who gonna, all them friends and girlfriends and people you say, mama the only one coming to see you. You see what I'm saying? So I learned at an early age, being around mom always, pointed me in the right direction. If I said, hey, somebody you lying, my mama gonna say, don't say lying. Let's tell a story. So mom always was giving me guidance from day one. And then from growing up, traveling with my dad, watching my mom coach all these years and the relationships she built, watching players come back and come by and visit her, I started to see she was making an impact. She was molding and shaping the character of young women. You see what I'm saying? And so you build your network and you build those relationships. And so I got to seeing. I've always played basketball. I've always been a coach's kid. I've always been around basketball. I can't go do nothing else in life. Basketball is my life. Here's a crazy little twist to the story. When I decided I wanted to come to Dumas and coach, because I get to coach with my mom. I didn't get to see my mom a lot because we was always coaching, but now I got a chance to see her more. I got a chance to come coach my son. God must have known, and she talks to this all the time, that I needed to be in Dumas. Because 2 weeks after I accepted the job at Dumas, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. How amazing is that? So God knew that I needed to be here for my sons and for my mom. When my mom had to go through treatments of having to go to Chicago, flying on a plane in Illinois, she said, God put me here for a reason, because she felt at ease leaving her team with somebody she trusted. I don't remember the year, but thank God my mom beat breast cancer. But I'm just saying, think of how miraculous that was for God, for me to say, I'm over here with a team at Drew Central. We're going to state tournaments. We're preseason ranked in the state. We're in the Super Gazette, Arkansas Democrat. We're ranked. I left a successful program as a head coach to become an assistant coach, and people thought I was crazy. They say, man, how did you leave it? I said, number one, family over everything. Our goal is to get to where Coach Ira Green made it as a state champion, to where Coach Van Holt took his team and won titles. We want to get there. And where Coach Patterson and Coach Hendricks, they didn't win it, but they took their teams there. We want to get on the Mount Rushmore to get up there with those teams. What's the saying? Sometimes you got to crawl before you walk. So I knew I was crawling and stumbling those first 2 years, but I knew when he gave it up and I became head coach, I was going to stand up and walk. And now, after I done walked and stumbled a little bit, now I'm running. Now I'm running. And if we win this state championship, I'll be sprinting.
1, 2, 3, state champion. Hey, leave it 3:30.